encrypted SIM cards, Russian SIM cards, black SIM cards. By thinking that you are anonymous using an encrypted or an untraceable SIM card, that is totally incorrect.
So that SIM card's exactly the same as mine?
It's exactly the same as yours.
If the police get my phone, can they get into it?
Of course they can, regardless of what model phone you have.
If a chat is deleted, can it be recovered?
Everything's on a server somewhere.
What would you say is safer, Android or iOS?
Personally, I've always used iOS. Android has recently just been exposed as having had millions of devices with malicious software and spyware inserted into these devices and sold onto the market. Personally, I would never touch a used phone. Those phones are sold with malicious software in the back end of them already. They're clocking and recording every key press that you make, all your bank details, you're running all your crypto accounts on that phone, everything's being logged. So if you're on crypto and you're running an Android device, think twice.
What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the BlueTick show. Opposite me today, I've got Matt, cybersecurity expert and hacker. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Ethical hacker.
Ethical? Have you always been ethical? Well, listen,
Pretty much.
For people who don't know, ethical means by the law. Have you always been straight?
Relatively straight, as straight as I can say on here.
Bit like a ruler. Yeah?
There we go.
Okay. Well, listen, pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're here. We had a little chat off camera. You showed me a few things which have shocked me, genuinely blown me away. But let's get the viewers here. Let's tell them a little bit about you. So what is it you actually do?
I work as a cyber investigator, as well as a private investigator. I specialise in cybersecurity and ethical hacking.
So someone who specialises in cybersecurity and ethical hacking, what does your day in the life of you consist of?
Consists of numerous phone calls and requests regarding online investigatory requests. Following up a lot of investigations, research, etc.
So listen, let's dive straight into it. Let's cut the bullshit. The viewers are here for one reason only. They've seen hacker. What can you hack?
Ethically.
Ethically and unethically, hypothetically, what could you hack?
Well, I think my main reason for being here today is actually to get the point across and let people out there know what can be accessed and what cannot be accessed. And as we've had a little demonstration prior to us starting, I think you're pretty aware of what can be accessed and what cannot be accessed.
Guys, viewers out there, yeah? I'm going to be real with you. Matt showed me something on my phone. And I'll be honest with you, he's not coming near my phone ever again in his life. He proved to me that he could... So would it be hack into my phone or would it be break into? Because you taught me a little bit different earlier. What would it be?
I've accessed your phone.
Okay, so he gained access to my phone in about 3 seconds. Yeah, 3 seconds.
And what did I do when I gained access?
You had access to WhatsApp. All of my data you had access to.
There we go.
So don't ever come near me again. No, but listen, that proved me away. Like, you blew me away with that. I was shocked.
Just to get something straight, your phone is an iPhone 14 Pro.
iPhone 14 Pro Max.
And it's passcode protected.
Passcode and Face ID.
And we got into your WhatsApp in less than 3 minutes.
Less than 30 seconds. Yeah, and
who says WhatsApp, Signal, and Telegram are impenetrable?
So yeah, let's go on to another question then. So I've interviewed multiple solicitors, ex-gangsters, and everyone says, can you get into iPhones? Can the police actually get into them from a hacking side of it?
Everything's penetrable. Anything
really?
can be gained access to. Yes.
Well,
Android or iOS, it doesn't really matter. Any phone, any operating system.
What would you say is the best way to protect your phone that no one can get into it?
There's a number of ways you can best protect it. There's a lot of online forums, cybersecurity forums that teach you how to secure your phones. I can teach you as well. However, at the end of the day, depending on what you're up to on your phone, there is absolutely no 100% way that will secure your phone if you are not up to any good.
Well, truthfully, police can get into anything.
They can get into absolutely anything. And so can people from the private sector who know what they're doing.
That's like you. So
it only took a few minutes to get into your WhatsApps and Signal.
Yeah, no, you do. So... Listen, you smashed it. I'll be honest with you, that side of it. But let's dive into the world where what do you do in the sense as you get a phone call? What is a job you get? What's a normal day in the life of you? You get a phone call. What's your most often job you get? Because what I hear from private investigators is cheating husband, cheating wife. Is that your kind of role, or do you deal with different things?
I do get a lot of requests. I try and keep away from that. The domestic side of things I try and keep away from. My forte is tracking down people online It could be social media investigations. It could be investigations where someone suspects their partner is up to no good, lost persons, tracing lost people. There are a number of lines of inquiry that come my way.
Have you ever
and
had
that I follow up as well?
Have you ever had some crazy cases?
I've had quite a few crazy cases, yeah.
Tell us one. What's been something crazy?
Top of my head,
Off the top of your head, tell us one of the craziest cases you've ever dealt with.
a client wanted to know whether their partner was up to no good. So did some online investigatory work and found out that the partner was working nights as a call girl, unbeknown to him, and he was about to marry this person as well. When I showed him all the profiles online, he was in complete denial and accused myself of knowing exactly what she'd up to prior to even coming to visit him.
Oh, serious? So how do you deal with that?
The situation got quite hostile, to be honest with you. He actually assumed that I knew, because I knew so much about her and what she was up to, his assumption was I knew her prior to even starting the investigation.
Oh, shit.
But that was just my ability to find out what she was up to online.
And how long did that take you?
It took me a few hours to get to the bottom of it.
So you found out his woman was a adult worker?
Correct.
Oh, he must have been pissed. Did they get married?
Absolutely wounded.
Did they get married?
I've never spoke to him since.
All right, and something like that. How do you price your jobs?
It varies. It varies
Because
on
every
how big the job is. Every job varies in from the size of the request to the size of or the amount of effort I need to put into it. The amount of resources that need to be put into every job do differ. So depending on how long it will take and what resources need to be put into that particular job will depend on what I quote.
Because something like that, you can never roughly say how long it's going to take. It could take you 1 day, it could take you 2 minutes, or it could take you a month.
That's correct, yeah.
So, to you, nothing. You obviously don't have a price list.
I do and I don't. I have a price guide to guide people on what they're roughly looking at. However, I take each case one at a time. If a case is going to go on for a long period of time, if I'm not being paid enough or I don't feel I'm being paid enough, then I won't take the job on.
Yeah, true.
However, at the same time, I'm not there to take numerous jobs on for pennies either.
No, definitely.
It's quite unique and it's quite a niche market that I work within. So I do have a lot of work coming my way.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can definitely imagine. But look, Matt, we've given the viewers a little bit of juice. Now let's dive back to story time. Your upbringing. How did you get involved in hacking?
I've always had an interest in cybersecurity and the ethical hacking side of things.
Yeah.
We've all got a bit of a past. I'm a strong believer in you're a product of your own environment.
Yeah.
And if you hang around idiots, you will end up being an idiot. Which, hands up, I was for a long period of time.
Fair enough.
I moved away from that when I realised things weren't quite as rosy as I thought they were.
So something went wrong.
Something went wrong. We'll keep that off camera.
Yeah.
And my assumption was I need to improve where I was in life. And to do that, I had to move away from the circle of people I was involved with. And I put myself through education, studied cybersecurity and ethical hacking, as well as becoming a cyber investigator, and went mainstream. And that's where I am today.
Let's throw it back a little bit further to your actual childhood. At what point did you realise that you're good on a computer? Because that is what you do. You're mainly on a computer. You're mainly gathering information and stuff like that. Was it a young thing? What age did you start all of this?
It wasn't at a young age that I started that. I always had an interest in it, but it was not at a young age. I worked as a close protection officer for a number of years. And my understanding was, as working as a close protection officer, you only see physical things and you only see physical threats.
Yeah.
I was always intrigued by technology. So if I was clever at technology and I worked within the tech industry, as well as being able to see physical threats, I could see physical threats as well as digital threats. So I covered the whole sector.
No, listen, it's what you've done is great, because it's a lot easier coming to you, someone who's on a computer. You can track everything than going to a normal private investigator who sat there taking pictures of everyone.
That's correct, yeah. A lot of private investigators and close protection officers are stuck in, not all, but most, are stuck in their old ways and outdated ways of investigating and getting to the bottom of things. They need to see physical things. I'm not one who can walk around with a camera and do surveillance. That's boring as far as I'm concerned. I have tried it in the past. It doesn't really appeal to me. To be honest with you, I get really bored. I think I can get a lot more and better results, achieve a lot more in a lot less time by being able to follow someone's digital footprint and see where they've been online and what they've been up to.
Well, listen, you showed me something earlier that involved 23 million passwords were leaked.
26 billion.
26 billion
personal credentials were leaked.
And viewers, we're going to come back to that. So just remember we mentioned that. But one thing I want to touch on is, so without speaking too much on your past, because everyone has a past and we leave it in the past for a reason, but you went from being, let's say, a naughty boy. Yeah?
Somewhat
of a naughty boy to now becoming a professional businessman.
That's correct.
What would you say is the differences between being a little bit naughty, or whatever you want to call it, but to actually be running a mainstream business where you've got to follow all the rules and regulations? What are the differences in your life?
Huge, massive differences. First of all, I had to move away from a big circle of friends who, as I say, you're a product of your own environment. And if you hang around idiots, you will always be an idiot.
Yeah, definitely.
It was a bigger task than expected to move away from that environment. However, it's the best thing I've ever done.
And how did you do that? Because obviously the line of business you're in, they wanted to probably keep you around.
Of course they did. Willpower.
You just said, that's it, I'm
Willpower.
out. See you later.
Grow up, use your head, and use a lot of willpower.
No, listen, I respect
Have the right support around you, and you can get to where you want to go.
It takes a lot to walk away from that world.
Of course it does.
But you've done it. And you're here today. You're on camera. Your face is everywhere. So clearly you're not involved in that world no more. But there's a few things we need to touch on. A lot of people throw the word hacker around. In your definition, what is a hacker?
A hacker is someone who gains access to databases, websites, other people's personal content with malicious intent in mind.
We've experienced there's been a lot of hackers online, like the Anonymous group. They're like the most famous hackers in the world, I believe. And there's loads of things where it comes down to hackers, it's Instagram. That's what our viewers are probably worried about. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Them three apps, bigger social media apps in the world. How hard are they to hack in? And you taught me earlier there's a difference between hacking in and gaining access. Was
Correct.
that two difference?
Correct.
What are the differences?
A lot of people assume that hacking in can be done physically. A physical hack is when you've got the device in your hands.
Okay.
As we did earlier, as I showed you earlier.
Yeah.
That way I can gain access to all your chats, all your messages, etc. Encrypted or not, I will gain access. Social media accounts, that's by bypassing the password that's on the device.
Which you showed me earlier.
Then there's a remote hack, which is done remotely. So you could be in London, I could be in Manchester, and remotely I will gain access to your accounts without you even knowing.
Yeah. Well, you showed me a little feature on your computer earlier. And obviously we're not going to show the feature off to the viewers, but you showed me a feature where you tapped in an email address and we're coming back to the 26 billion leaked email address or data now.
And that was your email address with all your passwords.
And guys, listen, this man is never ever coming back to my studio ever again, but nice to meet you. He tapped in my email, I'd say a minute? Within a minute?
If that.
Within a minute's time, all my previous passwords come up. Everything. So you can do that to anyone.
If the data's been breached.
And what would you say the percentage of data that is breached?
Percentage-wise, I'm not sure. But recently, there have been a lot of data breaches. So it's well worthwhile everybody having a look online and seeing if they've been a victim of a data breach.
But why are these people breaching data and not doing nothing with it?
They are doing a lot with it. It's just whatever's excess and whatever's not required or not needed is thrown onto the dark web.
So they might, for example, take bank details, keep that, but throw all the email addresses
Anything
away.
that's excess, they'll throw away. Or they'll put it online for someone else to use.
With your abilities, what do you think is the most dangerous tool a hacker can have?
There are many. There's no limit. There's absolutely no limit at all.
Yeah, because it is...
It's more so about looking at cybersecurity side of things, securing yourself online, and making sure you're as safe as you can. That's about the best you can do as a person.
Fair enough. But listen, we spoke earlier on, and I thought I was real smart, and I said to you, so what happens if I swallow my SIM card? Yeah? And in my head, I thought to myself, all right, guys, because you see in the movies, whenever someone's doing a dodgy drug deal, they swallow their SIM card, and they're sweet. And then you pulled out a little device and told me what happens if I duplicate your SIM card. Talk us through that, or clone my SIM card. Talk us through that whole procedure and what in the world you was talking about.
Okay, just to get it straight here. Some SIM cards can be cloned and some cannot be cloned. Usually a comp 128 version 1 and 2 can be cloned. A comp 128 and version 3 cannot be cloned.
What's the differences?
Okay, there's a difference. Some of them work on 2G, some work on 3G, some work on 4G and 5G. Yours will be on a 5, more than likely 5G, having a look at it earlier. That will be relatively difficult to clone. It will take an extreme amount of technique to be able to clone yours.
This video is sponsored by Cranbrook Law, an award-winning immigration law firm. Their talented solicitors can help when any struggles arise regarding immigration law. They can help get you the visas they need. They can help get you the staff you need from any other countries. As you can see, the website is on the screen right now. So if you need anything to do with immigration law, message Cranbrook Law and let them help you. Whether you're looking to obtain a sponsor license, receive advice and guidance in relation to compliance and our civil penalties, or take advantage of our know-how and experience across a broad range of business visas, our talented and dynamic immigration lawyers are available to speak to you. Telephone numbers on the screen, emails on the screen, and hit the link in the bio if you need any help. So look, Matt, online a lot of people are talking about mobile phones and them being hacked. Can you, as a cybersecurity expert, explain how people are hacking into these mobiles?
The methodology behind it, I'll refrain from mentioning.
Okay.
However, it is really common for devices to be hacked, especially in this day and age. I think there's quite a few naive people out there who don't realise how easy it is for devices to be gained access to, either physically or remotely. There are a number of ways that a device can be hacked. You can be sent a link, you can be sent an image, you can be sent a file, and all you need to do is click on it, and as soon as you click on it, malicious software is automatically downloaded onto your phone. That way, they can then begin to navigate their way through your phone and onto further content within your phone.
So when I was younger, I used to have a friend who used to understand this world a lot more than me. The first one where you're sending a link, is that called phishing?
Most of the time it is, yes.
So that one's called phishing, and so that could basically be me sending you a link, you clicking on it, you believing it's Facebook, typing in your Facebook details, logging in. On my back end, it will come up with what you've tapped in, correct?
With a keylogger, yes. So what a keylogger will do, if a keylogger is inserted, is a keylogger will register every single key press that you make and relay it back to the attacker.
And is that how people are getting into these accounts?
Quite often, yes.
What would you say is the most common method?
It depends what level of hack you're talking about, but there's so many methods. There's no one particular method that they will use. There's so many out there.
They're just literally using everything.
They'll
Anything
use
possible.
any method possible to get in.
I've got a question for you. Let's say I had a gentleman. I wanted to get into his phone. He protected himself in every way possible. He had Face ID, passcode. He had a phone. This phone here, right here. I had Face ID, passcode. I had every form of password on every single app, and I had a picture in my photo album. Could you gain access to that?
No, I'm not allowed to.
All right. Unethically, could you gain access to that?
No comment. However, on that note, I know a lot of people will be asking the question, can law enforcement get into it?
Yeah. Can they?
On the back end of that question, most certainly. Just to shed a bit of light on it, there is new software out there that uses facial recognition. You can take your fingerprint as well, biometrics, and they can access it that way. They can access your electronic devices that way. It's new software that's come out that will allow any access to any digital device.
Oh, really?
Particularly mobile phones. So if you've got a screen, your facial recognition on your screen, that can be replicated with new software, as long as there's an image of you.
So my boys out there, you heard it first. Stop with a Face ID. So would you recommend getting rid of Face ID?
I wouldn't recommend getting rid of it. I would recommend behaving yourself.
No, definitely, I understand that.
There is no 100% way of stopping your phone from being accessed.
All right, so cool. So we spoke about the Face ID. So phones with passcodes, how are they broken into?
Okay, it doesn't really matter what length or how complicated your passcode is. There are a number of tools out there that can bypass the password. There's a technique called the rainbow technique, and what it does is the use of social engineering. So I will gather a load of intel on you, and this will include your dog's name, your cat's name, your children's names, dates of birth, etc. I will insert that into a tool. That tool will create numerous variations of those. So if you've got a dog called Jack, it will insert Jack with a capital J, It will insert it with a lowercase j. It will put a date of birth before it, a date of birth after it, and you can create a list, 1,000 passwords long, 2,000 passwords long, and what will happen is that rainbow list will then get inserted into a passcode or password cracking tool, and it will run through every variation on your phone until it cracks your passcode, because 90% of us use a passcode or a password that's associated with something in our day-to-day lives.
So I once heard there's a quote, hack the person, not the phone. Is that what that is? You're basically hacking into their back end, because it's true. I'll be real with you.
That is true.
Most people use a password related to something around them in their life.
That is correct,
No
yes.
one just plucks a number out of the thin air and makes it as a password.
That's correct, yes. We've all got social media, and we advertise far too much on social media.
Definitely.
So we put our pets' names, we put our children's names, we put dates of birth down, we put many things down that we shouldn't really be putting down. Now, when I accumulate all of that and put it into a tool that generates thousands of variations of those particular words or dates of births or figures or whatever it is, I will then insert the results from that into a password cracking tool, which will then run through every variation on your device until it gets the right passcode and enters.
And how long can that process take?
That can take anywhere from 24 hours to a number of weeks.
And it just constantly just keeps sending passwords to it.
It'll constantly keep ticking around until it breaks it.
So nothing is safe.
No,
So
absolutely.
literally
nothing is safe.
nothing. It's
I
just
think a lot of people are deceived by the fact that they may have lost a mobile phone, they've got the phone back, and the phone's in the same state it was in when it was taken away from them. What they don't understand is that phone could easily have had access gained to it, and it was just closed back up and given back to them. Because when you gain access by using a passcode, it's as though nothing's gone wrong with it. No one is none the wiser.
And people can obviously put things on your phone as well, right? Bugs.
Remotely? Or
No, if
physically?
they got hold of your phone. If I gave you my phone, you could make my phone
Oh,
your phone.
if I had access to your phone, then yeah, that would be quite easy to do. It's not particularly hard to insert malicious software, spyware on someone's phone if I've got access to it for a few minutes. Give it back to them, and they won't see that because it's hidden in the back end of the phone.
And they'd never know.
And not be known to them. I will be able to access every single thing of theirs on their phone as though I am the user of that phone.
You must have issues trusting people.
I've never trusted anyone.
I was about to, you must not trust anyone, because have you ever, let me ask you a question. You've done
I don't trust myself.
I was about to say, but you've done a lot of business with a lot of people in your life, yeah? In any sort of business, I don't care what it is, you've met a lot of people. Have you ever met someone who got a little bit of a funny smell about them, tapped them into your database and found out they were someone completely different?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
What do you mean?
I wouldn't go that far. I would just move away from them and not associate with them.
Fair enough.
There's no particular need or reason for me to do that.
Well, listen, if I had access to everything you got access to, I'm hacking into everyone.
And everything that I can access is in the public domain. I'll make that clear. So nothing shady. It's all in the public domain.
Yeah, no, but listen, with some of the stuff you have access to, I don't think the average Joe can find access to it.
That's because they don't know how to. With enough determination and enough skill and enough education and teaching yourself, anything's possible in whatever walk of life we talk about.
That's fair enough. That's a good point to make. You, as a cybersecurity expert, what phone would you use to protect yourself?
I use an iPhone.
Okay.
I find them pretty safe. However, any device can have access gained to it. So my theory is, if you're going to be up to anything that's no good, do not go down that path. There's no particular operating system or device that cannot be penetrated.
So you just nothing at all? Because people say, a lot of people talk about Telegram. A lot of these naughty boys, just because we're talking about it, listen, we're not in that world, but a lot of these people, we all know people around us. We watched movies, we watched YouTube videos where a lot of drug dealers talk about Telegram. Telegram, you can't get caught. Use Telegram. Delete the chat. And on that note, a question for you. If a chat is deleted, can it be recovered?
First of all, where are the servers?
I don't know, you tell me.
Where is the information going? The information's been stored somewhere. So it doesn't mean they have to come through your device. They can go elsewhere to recover the conversation. No one's going to know, are they?
So if it's deleted, it's not deleted.
Everything's on a server somewhere.
Yeah, all these people out there, you're all finished, bro. You're done. Everyone's finished. Forget it. You all go to prison. Forget it. But that's even down to an app. Even if me and you have a WhatsApp conversation, it's deleted, it's gone off my phone and your phone. You're telling me it's still somewhere. Someone can access it.
It's saved somewhere. I'm not saying someone can or will necessarily access it, but it is saved somewhere.
And does that ever get wiped, them servers?
I don't know that much.
See, do you know what it is? For the viewers out there, you're probably thinking, why is he not saying too much? Why is he not this? The line of work you're in, you can't talk too much. You've got to be very careful in what you say because you can't give away your whole business plan. You can't tell everyone what you use because at the end of the day, you've trained in this. You're an expert in your field for a reason.
That's correct.
And you don't want to give away too much where people can use stuff against you as well.
That's correct, yeah.
But to give a little bit away, you've got some gadgets in front of you. I can see some things over there. What have we got?
We've got here, I know a lot of lads out there talk about the encrypted SIM cards.
Encro.
Russian SIM cards, black SIM cards.
Black SIM card? I've not heard that one before.
There is a feeling out there that if I insert, or you insert, an encrypted SIM card or a Russian SIM card into a phone, you're invincible.
Okay,
you're untouchable.
1 minute, Matt. Before we dive into that, there's a lot of viewers out here who don't know what they are. So for each one, tell all the viewers, give a little breakdown on each card because there's some people who don't know what they are.
Okay, these cards offer an encrypted service whereby they encrypt the data that travels along them and basically portray themselves or portray the cards as being anonymous, so you cannot be tracked or traced. And any chat that's done over the SIM cards is encrypted.
Okay.
So that's the assumption.
You're saying they're not. Yeah, is that what you're saying? Okay. and
right. So just to explain matters there, every mobile phone has an IMEI number.
Okay.
Every service provider's SIM card has an ISMI number. And every SIM card under the gold strip is a code called an ICCID code. That is a hardware code linked directly to that specific SIM card. When a phone call is made or data's transferred or chat's made and it meets a base station or a mast, as people know it, all three of those codes are relayed to the mast. When the security protocol on that mast is happy with those three codes, it will then relay it onto the end user. So a lot of people are misinformed and under the assumption that because they've got an encrypted SIM card or because they've got a SIM card that is not traceable, there's no recollection of it anywhere. They're invincible. That's totally incorrect. So these cards are totally traceable because they use all three codes to communicate to a base station, which then relays the message. So by thinking that you are anonymous using an encrypted or an untraceable SIM card, that is totally incorrect. Your phone calls or your data will not travel any further than a base station if none of these codes are matched back to your mobile phone.
So that SIM card's exactly the same as mine?
It's exactly the same as yours.
It's just
one of the biggest scams that's been going on for quite a while out there is, I've got a Russian SIM card, and all it is a pay-as-you-go SIM card that's come from abroad.
That's all it is?
That's all it is. It's been loaded with data, and it's been sold as a SIM card that's encrypted because it cannot be traced within the UK. That couldn't be further from the truth because it still needs to link with your IMEI number, the IMSI number on that being the ISMI number, and the ICCID code from that will talk to the mast or the base station.
But then also,
so there is a record of that talking to the base station with your location and what's being said.
I hear all of that. But there's a lot of Russian, when people say Russian SIMs to me, some of them where they have the number change. You know, where you can change the number?
Okay, to clear that up, that's called phone number spoofing.
Yeah, okay.
Now, on the interface of a mobile device is the operating system that you see. So all that does, and it's a sales tactic, will tell you that your phone number has changed or the IEMI number has changed. When in actual fact, it's just changing on the interface of the phone. The back end of the phone is still sending the original IMEI number and ISMI number. Because if they changed, the conversation will not get any further than the base station. The security protocol at the base station will realize that something's not right and not transfer the conversation any further.
Because I can phone you as someone else's number. And you're saying that's all just a gimmick kind of thing.
That's just spoofing. It's a gimmick. It does not work. So whoever does that, whoever says that, has been sold a lie.
What do you mean it don't work? Is in because I can do it?
It works on the interface. So to
Yeah.
you,
So
as
to-
you see it, physically see it, yes, you assume it has. But on the back end of the phone, the real number going is embedded in the phone already. That cannot be changed. It's like a VIN number or a chassis number on a vehicle. You can change the number plates as many times as you want, but you cannot change the VIN number on the vehicle. It's exactly the same terminology or theory, should I say.
So all these cars are pretty much a lump of shit.
Correct.
So that is literally just a sales gimmick. All these.
It's always been a sales gimmick.
So all these guys that have got these
Everything
Russian
is
Sims,
registered.
and they sell Russian Sims for like £300 online.
A lot more than that.
Upwards. So it's a 99
I may
Sim.
as well go into Europe and purchase a card and update it myself and come back.
That's all it is.
But as soon as it connects to a base station, every single thing, including the device you're working on, operating on, is recorded.
So there is no difference at all between an O2 SIM pay-as-you-go and a Spanish pay-as-you-go SIM card.
Absolutely no
That's just now
difference
called a
whatsoever.
Russian SIM.
That's correct.
Right. Okay, that's big news. I don't think many people knew that.
On the back end of that, a lot of people don't realize that every mobile phone has two operating systems.
What do you mean two?
Okay. The interface of the phone, we're all accustomed to seeing Android or iOS as an example. That's what you as an end user see. But on the back end of the phone is a second operating system that's embedded in the firmware and runs on the secondary processor.
Okay.
Okay. And that receives everything radio frequency related. Radio frequency is transmitted from the base station into the back end of the phone prior to it going onto the operating system that you can see.
Okay.
Okay? A command can be sent from a base station into the back end of your phone as it's usually unregulated. These secondary processors believe every command that's sent to them. They trust every command that's sent to them.
Yeah.
So if an attacker came from the back end of a phone, it's automatically in the back end of your phone through the secondary processor.
But how does someone get hold of the base station?
How does someone get hold of a base station? Base stations are controlled and run by network providers such as your O2, Virgin, etc. The frequencies that they operate on are controlled by Ofcom. Okay? What you need to realize is that all these frequencies are governed. So if you are running on the O2 network, they will be allocated a frequency, for example, don't quote me on this, 800 megahertz to 1200 megahertz.
Yeah.
Vodafone on a different one, and the next network on a different one to that. Any transmission that enters the back end of that phone goes through the secondary operating system prior to it landing on the interface facing operating system that you can see. So before it's come through to iOS or the Android operating system, it's come through the back end of the phone that trusts and believes every command that's been sent to it. So theoretically, if an attacker attacked from a base station, they have automatic access to the back end of a phone. So regardless of how safe or how secure your operating system is, you believe is, there is still access to the back end of your phone from a surveillance perspective.
Guys, have you been thinking of move to Dubai? I've partnered up with Cranbrook Legal to make your experience so much easier. Literally, I got the main man from Cranbrook Legal right now to tell you how easy it is.
Guys, it's as simple as picking up the phone, giving us a call and letting us get on with the business.
What, literally, one phone call?
Literally one phone call, a few documents, and we're there.
And then I just get up, fly to Dubai, and I ain't got to pay tax no more?
Yeah, you can come and see us. We'll take you out for a meal, show you Dubai, and then it's all up to you after that.
Bro, where do I sign now? So now let's cut the bullshit completely. If there's a proper hacker out there and he wants to get access to your phone, he's getting access.
By a hacker, what do you mean? A malicious hacker or a state hacker?
A malicious hacker. Both, to be fair. No, they'd have to be malicious. A malicious hacker.
There are clever people out there. I personally don't know anyone who can do that, but I believe that there are people out there with the ability to do that.
So now let's take it back to Ofcom. if there was a worker for Ofcom and he went rogue, he has access to every single phone out there, right?
Ofcom is the Office of Communications regulatory body that oversee all communications sent over radio frequencies. So that be it aeroplane signals that are sent out, etc. They are a governing body. They monitor what transactions are made and what travels over our networks. They govern it to make sure nothing malicious is happening.
I understand that. They do. But, okay, you answered that question without answering the question. That's fine. So now let's take it to a point where everyone thinks something is safe. There's one thing in the world that everyone says is untraceable, and that's Bitcoin. It's the most talked about thing right now. It's going through the roof. Everyone is on this Bitcoin craze, and it's untraceable, and no one can get into it. And if you're doing any dodgy business, send it over Bitcoin because no one can ever see you. Is all of that true?
That couldn't be further from the truth.
Well, you're going to sit here and tell me Bitcoin's traceable now.
Cryptocurrency is traceable.
Even Bitcoin?
Everything is traceable. There's a digital footprint for absolutely every cryptocurrency out there. Everything is traceable.
Okay, but Bitcoin it's got its name of being untraceable.
Didn't Encrypted get its name from being unpenetrable?
Yeah, that's true. Shit. Fair enough, yeah. But with Bitcoin, let me ask you a question. Is Bitcoin itself breakable, or is the log of where that Bitcoin has gone?
No comment.
Okay. All right. So, for guys out there who are trading Bitcoin, using Bitcoin to make purchases, you heard it here first. It is traceable. Yeah? Okay, fair enough. I'm not going to ask if you've been in any of that world because I don't want to know, and I know you're not going to give me a straight answer anyway.
But I haven't.
Okay, yeah.
Not my forte.
What would you say is safer, Android or iOS?
Personally, I've always used iOS. Android, unbeknown to a lot of people out there, has recently just been exposed as having had millions of devices with malicious software and spyware inserted into these devices and sold onto the market. It's very hard to find any content on this online, but if you do enough digging and you look for the Lemon group, the Lemon hacking group, who hacked Android devices, they are responsible for inserting malicious software on millions of Android devices and putting them out in the public domain.
And how did they do that?
I have no idea.
Okay.
So you need to look at it from an outsider's perspective. And the way I would look at it is the iOS operating system is generally and always has been a lot more secure.
Yeah.
The apps on their device, on the operating system, are governed a lot more closely than that of Android. Yes, Android is a more common operating system. However, you tend to find, like anything, when you have so many apps running on your app store, there are going to be rogue apps on there. With iOS, a lot of them are governed and there's a lot less apps that are running on their app store, hence the reason they're a lot safer. They also release security updates, software updates, on a more regular basis than Android. And because Android is so much of a bigger operating system, so much more common for people to have as opposed to the iOS being a bit expensive for some people, what you tend to find is hackers will target the Android devices knowing that 8 or 9 out of 10 people have Android phones. So it's much more profitable to target Android systems as opposed to iOS systems.
Well, yeah, everyone knows that Android has... you can put an app on Android anytime.
That's correct.
Anyone can create an app.
Recently, this is only in the past couple of weeks, I think Android have removed 5 apps that had keyloggers on them and were being sold. I can't quite remember what they were being sold as, and everyone had these apps on their phones.
It was a common app.
It was a very common app. If you Google it, it will come up. 5 of them have been removed in the past couple of weeks, and these apps are being used by everybody, and no one had any idea that these apps had access to the back end of your phone, and they were stealing everybody's banking credentials, etc.
So tracking's a big thing. Everyone's always worried about, are they being tracked? Are they not being tracked? If I was to go and switch my phone off, can it still be tracked?
Of course it can, yes.
Even while off?
Correct. When your phone is off and you switch it off, power it off, all it does is shut down the interface. The back end of the phone is constantly talking to other devices and the mast that's closest to it. It's constantly relaying and receiving information at all times. The only way to get around that is to use an old phone where the battery can come out. All new model phones have a built-in battery, and as long as there's a built-in battery, the phone is running in the background.
What if my phone dies?
It still talks.
Seriously? Even while dead?
The phone will still talk.
Yo. Okay. All right. Fair enough. You're shocking me with this one. You're shocking me with all of this because no one's safe. You can't do anything. The only way is to stay on a straight and narrow path.
We're saying no one's safe. I think it's very well governed. If you're not going to be up to any good...
You just told me 26 billion pieces of data was leaked or breached. So even if you're just a normal person, someone's got access to your email, someone can now hack into your banking. So no one is really safe.
No one's safe in this current climate.
Yeah.
Especially with technology advancing as quickly as it is. That's why it's imperative that people educate themselves and follow cybersecurity tips online.
AI. What's your opinion on AI?
Brilliant.
For your line of business, yeah.
For my line of business, yes. Humans in general do not like change. We're reluctant of change, and that's because we're scared. Humans are scared of change. So you get a lot of people digging their heels in and reluctant to move ahead and move on in society. What we need to understand is AI is not bad as long as it's used in the right way. It can be used in a negative way, and I understand, and that's highlighted more often than not. However, as we're scared of stuff we don't know, hence the reason so many people are reluctant to jump on board the AI train.
So I believe it was Elon Musk. He said a quote that he says, AI could be the most deadly thing in the world if in the wrong hands. Did you see that clip?
I've heard it.
Okay, so he said that clip. And ChatGPT is where it all started. It blew up. It was some fucking wizard machine. Do you not think it's getting a little too advanced? A bit too quickly?
Not personally, I don't know. I do understand some people assume it is, but that's because they feel out of their depth because they've never been in the tech game themselves. But if you've been in the tech game, you understand this technology has been out for many years. It's only just been put into the mainstream now.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. I heard that them kind of AI things have been out
They've
for
been
years.
out for decades.
Did you have access to it before?
No.
Ever had anyone who had access to it?
Not that I know of.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so let me ask you this then, Matt. So let's say my phone got hacked. I believed it was hacked. I don't know. And I went and done a full factory reset on my phone, went to settings, done the whole reset. Does that get rid of it?
Not really, no. The vast majority of the time, it will not get rid of the hack. Software will be embedded in the background beyond the reset's capability of removing it. A lot of people are under the assumption of either throw the phone away or reset the phone and start again. Once a hacker's gained access to a device, they've clearly got your passwords and your credentials. So all you would do by buying another phone or resetting the phone is when you load the apps back on, they've already got your credentials, so they just come back on board.
Yeah, true. So how do you protect yourself? Once someone's
Come and see me.
Fair enough. And how does someone get hold of you?
Through my website. That's hitechinvestigations.com, HITECH investigations.com. We're also found on most social media sites.
Well, listen, guys, if you're interested, all this stuff is in the description. Just scroll down there and hit him up. So, Matt, I've watched a lot of movies. You see a guy doing a crime, police are coming after him, he gets his phone, smacks it in half, smashes it into pieces. What happens? Can people still recover the data?
Of course they can.
Well, even if it's smashed into pieces, misereens.
Doesn't matter if it's in pieces. It doesn't matter if it's been thrown in water. As long as the data chips on it can be recovered. It's a very delicate and tedious process, but it's what we call a motherboard transplant. So get a replica phone or phone identical to the one that was smashed and implant all the data chips from the destroyed one onto the new handset and gain access that way.
So you've got to probably smash the phone to get, no one to get hold of it.
Anything can have data pulled off it.
Yo, this is mad. So what would you say is the best way to... Because clearly smashing your phone ain't going to work. Turning it off isn't going to work. Water?
It depends whose hands your phone ends up in, depending on how sophisticated, advanced and experienced the person is. If it's someone who's really clued up, they will get into that device regardless. They will get the data off regardless.
Just blow the phone up. Show any way. Just blow it up.
Yeah, we've all got time for that, haven't we?
Yeah, you just got sometimes. It sounds like the only way to do it is just to blow it up. That's it. It's the only option out there. So there's something I've heard before online, and it's called SIM jacking. Can you explain that to me? Because I have no idea what it is.
SIM jacking is when someone takes control of your mobile number or your SIM card. So this can be done remotely or physically. It's a lot harder to do now because service providers have got a lot more security protocol in place that make it a lot harder for that to take place. However, it was really common at one stage. It's tethering off somewhat now, but it is quite possible to clone or SIM jack someone else's number and have it on your device and download all their data.
So you said remotely. So how can someone do that remotely?
There are a number of methods. I think the most common one before was used with a lot of bank fraud and bank crime, where someone would call up portraying to be the original owner of that card. Once they got their credentials, which they would usually get through social engineering techniques by phishing on their social media websites, platforms, and getting their credentials, they would know the person's date of birth, they would know the person's passcodes, etc., passwords, and they would call the service provider up portraying to be that person, get the number sent over to them, and take control of the number straight away.
Yeah, shit.
Move it to another network, and by then you're in deep water. They've taken control of everything that's on your phone.
And then you can send confirmation passwords back to that number.
You can send two-factor authentications back. You can take complete control of their phone and everything that number relates to.
So one thing we keep touching on is you're pretty much always hacking the person.
Pretty much, yeah. People
The more you
are
know
not
about
moving
that
as
person-
quickly as technology is moving. Technology is moving at such a speed that people are struggling to keep up. And what hackers are doing with malicious intent is exploiting people's vulnerabilities.
So on iPhone, they've now produced this new thing over, let's say, the last year or so that says create a generated password. Is that safe?
That is really safe, yes.
That is, yeah?
That is
because
really
it
safe.
constantly changes and
Correct.
they're never going to leak them passwords.
Correct. I wouldn't say never.
No, of course.
Anything
but-
can be leaked, anything can be hacked. But generally speaking, yes, I would say that's relatively safe.
And a tip for all the viewers, would you say to have a different password for every single social media platform?
Never use the same password twice.
Ever. Full stop.
Never, ever. Because once someone's got it and you've used it on multiple platforms
got it all.
and on multiple sites, they can gain access to every single platform and site that you're on or account that you've got. That's why it's really important you change. It's very important to have quite a difficult password to crack. Now, just a word or a bit of advice for people out there is the safest passwords that are known at the moment to have out there are a 3-word password and none of those words be related. So something to the effect of floor, tree, car. There's no relation there, and a password cracking tool will struggle to crack that because they're not related. Any related words can be cracked with the password cracking tools. So by throwing it off, by having 3 unrelated words as your password, that is the safest password out there.
It's going to take me 10 minutes to start logging into stuff.
Do you want to be safe?
Yeah, true. True. Fair play. So, Matt, let's say hypothetically my phone was to go missing or someone stole my phone and I have some sensitive information on there. Is it possible for me to remotely delete my phone? You know, especially now with new apps you've got, you can wipe your phone. Can you do that, or is that no good?
Depending on whose hands the phone has ended up in, yes and no. You can go into your account, log into your account from any other device and block the phone, clear the data, clear the phone, remove the phone from the account that way, yes. However, a lot of people under the assumption that if the phone ends up in the authorities' hands, they can still remotely delete the data. That couldn't be further from the truth. When a phone is seized, it's usually put in a Faraday, almost always put in a Faraday case or a Faraday bag, which blocks the signal. In order to remove the data or block the data from being removed from that, there's no signal. So with no signal being transmitted to or from the device cannot receive that signal to tell it to be deleted. When the device ends up, or the phone ends up in a lab, the lab is completely sterile. There's no signal inside that, and work will begin on a phone that way. So if you think you're clever and you're going to just remotely delete the content on the device, you couldn't be further from the truth.
So, Matt, I'll tell you a story. I once got arrested for nothing. Literally, I just got arrested for some stupid thing. I was out with my friends, caused a bit of drama, got arrested. And I went to the police station. They took my phone and they wanted to see if I'd sent a message. So they said to us, give us your PIN or we go in. And if you don't give it, if you get charged, you'll get an extra year for not giving the PIN code over. I said, no, fuck you, you're not getting my PIN. I didn't do anything, so I'm not giving all my PIN. How easy would you say it is for the police to get into a phone, an iPhone?
It depends on the severity of
I know we
the crime
touched on it.
crime that's taken place.
But did they have like something that they can literally plug in and it just opens? Like you see in movies.
It all depends on who's got their hands on your device and depending on how much of a priority target you are and depending on how serious the offence is. So if you're not a priority target and the offence is not that serious, also depending on who's got their hands on the phone will depend on whether they can have or do have the ability to get into it there and then or not. The vast majority of the time, if they cannot get into a device and if they're going to keep the device because it is a serious offence, it will then be sent off to a different department who have special equipment and skills to gain access to that particular device. It doesn't always mean that they're going to get into that device because it depends on who's behind it and how much of a backlog and how serious your case is in comparison to all the other cases that are coming in. Everything is prioritized. So just because they haven't got into a device after 6 weeks or 3 months or 6 months, it does not mean that they haven't got in at all. It just means it's been pushed further back down the line. That's all it means.
So let me ask a question again. If the police get my phone, can they get into it?
Of course they can, regardless of what model phone you have.
Fair enough.
Or operating system that you're using. They will get into it. Anyone can get to it. I say anyone can get into it.
What about old school Nokias?
What about them?
If I'm sending messages on them, speaking to people on them, and I delete it, or I smash that phone, because everyone used to say they're the best, most safest phones in the world, you just throw it away for naughty boys, obviously. What happens with that? Because it's not obviously a digital phone. It's not something you can plug into.
It's not a smartphone.
A smartphone, yeah.
Okay, so it hasn't got the apps and it hasn't got all the extra features on it. However, it's got text messages which cannot be erased. You can delete them on the handset, but there's always a record of them with the service provider. Every record of every location that phone has been to is recorded.
Yeah, that's mad.
So when you go home and sleep at night, regardless of whether you switch that phone on or off, it's recording where that phone is sleeping and where that phone is moving to.
From obviously cell site and stuff like that.
Correct. Every phone call made, every phone call received can also be recorded. Well, is recorded, always recorded. So those phones are not as safe as people assume they are. Everything is recorded on them. Whereas a smartphone, you can somewhat twist it, work it in your way a little bit and make it a little bit harder to get into. With a black and white phone or a burner phone, that's not the case at all.
Is calling over WhatsApp safe? Because
as long as you're a law-abiding citizen, yes.
Because these apps now say they're encrypted.
Yeah, they're end-to-end encrypted. So
while
communication is taking place, the communication or the data being sent or received, while it's in transition, it is encrypted. When it arrives on the device, it's still encrypted. When you open it, it decrypts itself. So a lot of people under the assumption, because it's encrypted, no one can gain access. However, if someone gains access to your device, where it becomes decrypted, they can gain access to the conversations.
So a phone call, can someone hack into and listen to my phone call?
We spoke earlier on about a second operating system that runs in the back end of the phone.
Yeah.
If someone is sophisticated enough to come in through the second operating system that's in the back end of the phone that you cannot see, then of course, they're in your phone already.
So Matt, you're the man with all the answers here. So is there anything that you know of yourself that can remotely delete stuff off a phone?
Not at present. There used to be a method using a technique called ZOD, and that is a decompression folder. And what it is a folder with a ton of data in it, and that would be on the device. Once that folder's opened, it would basically destroy the device. It would flood it with so much data that the device could not be used. So when the device got into the wrong person's hand and that file was opened, it would detonate and completely stop the device from working.
So obviously, Matt, we recently spoke about Encro, the Encro chat and all of that. And the police obviously got into it. FBI, I believe, got into it, or whoever it was in America breached it. How did they do that?
It's said that EncroChat servers had been breached, had been hacked into, and everybody's data was logged by the authorities. It's a bit of a grey area because not too much information has been let out. I think there's a number of factors that you need to take into consideration regarding EncroChat. And the first one is whoever did their research and found out who was behind or who owned EncroChat.
Well, I'm going to ask you who owned it.
There's no information out there, is there?
Okay.
Everything's been made secret. So no one has bothered doing their homework to find out who owned it prior to obtaining the handsets. So everybody jumped on board and bought the handsets. Did anyone ever go to a physical venue or physical place, a physical shop to buy a handset? They bought them online, didn't they? Or they bought them from a back-end dealer. No one ever went to a particular place or particular store to buy a device. What's to say that those devices were not already contaminated with malicious software or spyware, and everyone was picking up devices that already had malicious spyware inside them, and were relaying everything back? No one's thought of that either, have they?
But if you put it like that, that would be the perfect way to catch a lot of criminals.
It's not particularly hard for someone like myself, or anyone who's involved in mobile forensics, to inject malicious software into a phone and put that phone out there, and you will not see it because it's in the back end of the phone. So regardless of how safe you assume your operating system is, what's in the back end of the phone? You're none the wiser. So yes, the servers may have been hacked into, as stated. However, I don't think too many people did their homework and thought that there could also be malicious software in the back end of the phone that was relaying data.
Buying a second-hand phone is very unsafe, right?
Extremely unsafe. Personally, I would never touch a used phone. Never touch a used phone. If you're going to buy a phone, go to a main store, main dealership, a main service provider such as your O2s, your Vodafone stores, and purchase one that way. That way, you're getting a relatively clean phone. If you buy a phone from a third party or an online store, you have no idea what software is hidden in the back of that. And as I mentioned earlier, there's millions and millions of Android devices out there with spyware already inserted in them. If you Google the Lemon Group, the Lemon Hacking Group, you will see for yourself exactly how many millions of devices are out there, and people are none the wiser.
Yeah, that's mad. Because when you think of it like that, that phone could already have been hacked. It might have the software in the back end of it.
Those phones are sold with malicious software in the back end of them already. They're clocking and recording every key press that you make, all your bank details. You think you're clever, you're running all your crypto accounts on that phone, everything's being logged.
Shit, your crypto stuff as well, isn't it?
So if you're on crypto and you're running an Android device, think twice.
So Matt, to touch on your other side of business, you're a private investigator.
Yeah.
So there's obviously situations where people think their house has been bugged. They want your team to go in and sweep it. Does that help?
Yes, it does. Unfortunately, my theory is a lot different to that of a lot of other private investigators and close protection personnel who go around and do bug sweeps. Their ideology, as they don't work in the tech industry to the extent that I do, is they need to see something physical. So they will go in with their gadgets and the machines and look for something physical. But in today's climate and with technology moving forward as rapidly as it has been, it's not particularly difficult to come through someone's Wi-Fi network and watch them through their telly, watch them through their doorbell, listen to what they're doing, right? Insert a bit of software into a laptop or a PC within the house, and you know exactly what they're up to, but they cannot see it. So yes and no. If someone's planted a physical device, I understand having someone go in there and scan the premises or scan the vehicle for a physical device. But modern techniques involve a lot of hacking. And if I was to come through your Wi-Fi network and attack a device on the network, such as your doorbell, etc., I'll be able to see when you came home. I'll be able to see when you leave. I'll be able to listen to your conversations, as the microphones on them are quite good. So there are a number of factors to it. I get a lot of jealousy sent to or aimed towards me because the people who've traditionally done the bug sweeps haven't thought that technology's moved forward and they're a bit stuck in their ways. Not all. There's some really good people out there that do these jobs, but there are a lot of them that are stuck in their ways and don't believe that a hacker could come in and you will not even know that they're there. And they're attached to an account that's connected to your doorbell. They could be listening to you through your telly, and you'll be none the wiser.
So let me ask a question. You come around my house, I give you my Wi-Fi password. You go home. From that, can you hack into my Ring doorbell?
That is possible.
For real? Oh, shit. So anything...
I would have to be relatively close to where you are, but there are other methods that involve circumnavigating that particular method.
So
or that
all you
train of
simply,
thought, at least.
all you simply need is access to Wi-Fi.
As long as access to Wi-Fi can be gained, yes. What a lot of people don't understand either is when they get a vehicle searched or vehicle bug swept, they come along with their devices, they have a vehicle. 9 times out of 10, it's normally a tracker or something to that effect that's been put on the back end of the vehicle. What a lot of people don't understand is all modern vehicles have Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
The infotainment system in the center console of a vehicle usually has about a 300 gig hard drive in the back end of it. This relays all your data back to a server. Who has access to the server?
You tell me.
I'll leave that open. What you need to understand is when you connect a mobile device to your vehicle, a modern vehicle, all the data is downloaded onto the hard drive in the back end of the infotainment system.
Like what?
You will specify, it will ask you, do you want your contacts, do you want X, Y, Z being stored? And you will press contacts only. However, it will automatically download the entire device, which means, so it'll only display on the interface your contacts because that's all you've accepted. So it's saying that is all that you asked to see on the screen. However, in the back end of the device, your whole phone's been downloaded into the vehicle, onto the vehicle's hard drive. From there, that information gets sold on. Not all dealerships do this, so I distance myself from this, but people need to be careful. That data is then stored on servers and sold on. What people need to understand is there's also a tool out there, although it's very hard to get your hands on one of these tools. I know traffic officers use them during car accidents, etc. And it will be a bit like of an ODB socket like that, and basically that plugs into the vehicle. The USB end plugs into a laptop, and they can instantly download all the data from the infotainment system on your vehicle. And if you've got a mobile phone connected to that, goodbye to all your data. That includes your images, your videos, that includes your emails, that includes everything. So by you assuming that you've only got your contacts connected to it, every bit of conversation you've had is suddenly downloaded onto that. So don't think your data's safe as soon as you connect to a vehicle.
So hold on.
This is not all vehicles, but there are quite a few vehicles out there. I know there's a number of court cases going on in America at the moment where dealerships are being taken to court regarding the resale of customers' data.
So 1 second. Let's say I had access to one of them port things like you
ODB
said,
ports, yeah, sockets.
and I plugged that into my girlfriend's car. Plugged it in. If I knew the correct method and stuff, I could download her whole phone.
Correct.
Is that what you're saying? And
Correct.
that includes pictures. Does it include like chats?
Everything on that phone is downloaded. However, to obtain such a device is not easy at all. You don't only need the device, you would need extremely sophisticated software. But there are people out there who, I believe, have got this software, not necessarily in this country, but abroad. So if someone's come from abroad, think outside the box a little bit. If someone's come from abroad and have got one of those devices with the software, it only takes a matter of seconds to plug it into a vehicle and download all the data that's come off that phone.
So people need to start
So
worrying.
you need to think that it's not only your phone where they can get the actual phone's data from. They can extract it directly from your vehicle. So if you've been stopped or if you've lost your vehicle or had your vehicle taken away,
You've got to be more worried about.
you
what
need
they're
to
taking off.
understand that in a matter of 30 seconds or a minute, every single thing from the phone can be downloaded directly from the back end of the infotainment system in the vehicle if your phone has connected to it.
So hypothetically, when these police seize your vehicles, they could plug in, download, and give you your car back, right? Wow.
Think outside the box.
So when
I'm
all
not
the-
saying that does happen.
No, but what I would be more worried about, for me personally, I'm not saying I've got loads of shit on my phone, but my business is run from my phone. If someone was to steal my car or gain access to my phone, I'd let them take my car. Whereas someone could very easily steal my car, gain access to all the stuff on it, and then hold me for ransom.
Correct. But to obtain one of those devices and the software is extremely difficult. But
it is possible.
It is quite possible, yes.
And that's what I think everyone needs to understand. As much as it's difficult, it's still possible.
So everything on your phone, once your phone's been connected to your vehicle, is saved on the back end of the vehicle's hard drive.
I reckon we all just go back to sending pigeons with notes.
Go on, I'm up for that as well.
That sounds so much better and safer. So one of the reasons I've got you on this podcast is because social media influencers is becoming a massive thing. People are gaining a lot of publicity. They're growing bigger and bigger and bigger, and their phone is their world. And one thing I've realized is if you even think your phone's been hacked or you have genuinely been hacked, there's nowhere to go. There isn't a hotline you ring. You can't phone the police and say, hi, my phone's been hacked, get me all my stuff back. Is that where you come in and help people?
Yes, that is, yeah. What people need to understand is it's all very well being tied up in the moment and getting the views and getting the clicks. But if someone was to gain access to your device, what do you do when they take control of one of your accounts or profiles? They change the password and lock you out and hold you to ransom. You have absolutely no game plan after that, do you? No. So that's where I come into play. Give me a shout and I help you keep secure.
And can you get people's accounts back in that sense?
Yes, I can.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, guys, you heard it here on the BlueTick show. Get in touch with Matt. Let him work his magic. And if he does, get in touch with me and tell me what magic he's worked for you. Listen, guys, if you've enjoyed this and you want Matt to open up a lot more, and today we've dived into probably 5% of what he knows. Off camera, he showed me some mad shit. I'll be honest with you lot. Like some proper mad shit. So let's say if this video hits 10,000 likes, we'll get Matt on and we'll do a part 2. Happy with that?
Let's go.
Listen, guys, you heard it. Smash the like button. We'll see you on the next one. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.